what's up, everybody? Welcome to Easy Money, a sports betting show. Monday, December 12th, 2022. Got a pretty decent slate of games. Got Monday Night Football, got a few NBA games, a little bit of college basketball. I think there was a little bit of hockey as well.
I think it was about 5 or 6 games.
I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by my dad, Tony Gonzalez. How's it going?
Pretty good. Not too bad.
Get this to where I can make sure everything's going good. Had pretty good slate of NFL games yesterday. Some pretty good, entertaining games and a little bit of upsets.
Yep, things are really tightening up, man. I don't know who the favorite is right now. San Francisco looked really good.
Entertaining games.
Just don't know if that quarterback will be able to, handle the pressure when it, comes time. The heat's on in the playoffs, but he looked really good yesterday. And also, San Francisco had another big injury at wide receiver. But I think he'll be back for the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from what I've heard, they kind of got lucky on that situation. It didn't seem like it was as bad
as it looked. I mean, They carted him off, and he was pretty upset, so it looked really bad.
Tell you what, I'd say right now, even with the quarterback change, I still think they look like the most dangerous team.
Well, I'm gonna give. I finally got to give Philadelphia some credit. I mean, they're playing pretty well right now. Had a little lull there, when they played Washington and struggled with the Colts, but it seemed like they've gotten back on track. So I'm gonna give Philly. I gotta say Philly's the favorite, but I think San Francisco is a team that Philly may not want to play. So, but Dallas has been up and down a little bit. I mean, they still could be dangerous if they play well, if they have a good game. Is Carolina going to end up in the playoffs over Tampa Bay?
Yeah, they could. They're playing some pretty good football right now, which is kind of funny. They went through all the quarterbacks.
The other team that's really playing well right now is Detroit.
Yep,
they're really playing well. If they make the playoffs, I don't think anybody's going to want to play them because they're playing well. If they get in,
if that defense could just step up for them
a little bit more, yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Mike Hughes? Thanks for tuning in. All right. We're going to start in the NFL. We got Monday Night Football tonight. New England Patriots at the Arizona Cardinals. The Patriots are 2.5 point favorites on the road, minus 134 on the money line. The Cardinals are plus 114 on the money line. Over-unders at 43.5. To me, this is a kind of a hard game to pick. I think the Patriots are a pretty good team, but I don't think they're great. But then the Cardinals have been so up and down all year with having some injuries and then getting people back. I'm not sold on that Cardinals coach or really the quarterback. The quarterback's been so up and down. Yeah. So I like the Patriots in this game, basically because of their defense. I think the Patriots are going to give. It's going to be hard for the Cardinals to score a lot of points. I think Patriots defense will keep them close enough. So I'm going to go with Patriots at the minus 2.5. The under the 43.5 is kind of interesting to me as well, because I could see this being a low scoring game. You have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, that's a tough game to pick. I did a parlay for it. I went with New England minus 2.5, and I did the under 43.5, and I went Murray anytime score. So that's the parlay that I would play. But yeah, both teams are not great. New England's, I think, a little better than Arizona. Arizona does have a little bit more weapons than they did have with Marquise Brown being back. I think it's going to be a second game back. So, I mean, like you said, Murray's been very inconsistent.
Yeah. All right. Jump over to some NBA. First game, you got the Miami Heat at the Indiana Pacers. The Heat are 3.5 point favorites, minus 164 on the money line. Pacers are plus 138 on the money line. Over-unders at 228.5. I like the Pacers in this game at home. Pacers have been playing good basketball, and you have a Heat team that has been up and down. But I like the Pacers at home because they've been on that road trip. They're getting back, getting to play some games at home now, and getting them at plus 138 on the money line. I think it's good value. So I like the Pacers on the money line, and I like the over the 228.5 as well. Next game is the Brooklyn Nets at the Washington Wizards. The Nets are 6-point favorites, minus 230 on the money line. The Wizards are plus 190 on the money line. Over under is at 227.5. I like the Brooklyn Nets in this game. Nets are the better team. Washington's having a struggling season so far. I like the Nets at the -6, and I would favor the over the 227.5 in this game. Atlanta Hawks at the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are 10-point favorites at home, minus 420 on the money line. The Hawks are plus 330 on the money line. Over unders at 225.5. I like the Grizzlies to win the game. 10 points is too many points for me, though, but I do like the over the 225.5 in this game. And then the next game is the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are 8.5-point favorites, minus 350 on the money line. The Thunder are plus 280 on the money line. Over under for this game is at 228.5. I favor the Dallas Mavericks in this game at the minus 8.5. And I would favor the over the 228.5 as well. Then you have the Cleveland Cavaliers at the San Antonio Spurs. The Cavs are 8.5-point favorites, or minus 370 on the money line. The Spurs are plus 295 on the money line. Over under is at 220. I like the Cavs in this game. The 8.5 to me is a little too many points, but the Cavs are the better team. Then you have the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Portland Trailblazers. Portland is a 4-point favorite at home, minus 174 on the money line. The T Wolves are plus 146 on the money line. Over under for this game's at 230. I like the Minnesota Timberwolves at the plus 4 in this game. I think you're getting good value, getting them at plus money. You can get them at the plus the 4 points at minus 110 juice, or plus 146 on the money line. But I like the T Wolves there over the Trailblazers. And then the last game of the night, you have the Boston Celtics at the Los Angeles Clippers. The Celtics are 4-point favorites, minus 174 on the money line. The Clippers are plus 146 on the money line. Over unders at 230 or 224.5. Excuse me. I like the Celtics at the -4, and I'd like the over the 224.5 in that game. Do you have anything on the NBA?
Yeah, I got a parlay for the NBA. I took Miami at the Pacers. I took the Pacers plus 3.5. I went against you with the Minnesota and the Portland. I took Portland -4. And then Boston at the Clippers. I got the Boston Celtics -4. So that would be the parlay that I would play.
Because T.Y. Hilton signed with the Cowboys.
Huh.
Is what Frankie just said.
That's interesting.
I was surprised that it was this late into the season for somebody to finally sign him. I still think the Colts messed up there. Even if he wasn't going to play, it'd be your number one guy. It'd been good to have that veteran leadership in your locker room.
Yeah,
I think so. I thought that was kind of a mistake not having a veteran receiver.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a ton of money either.
Oh no, I would say it wasn't. Right. College basketball. Got a few games today. Got Monmouth at Syracuse. Syracuse is a 23.5-point favorite. Game I do like is Texas, number 7 Texas at home against Rice. Texas is a minus 24.5 point favorite. They're not showing the money line right now. Over unders at 141.5. I like Texas at the minus 24.5 in that game. You have South Florida at Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is a 3.5 point favorite at home, minus 170 on the money line. South Florida is plus 140 on the money line. Then you have Gonzaga at home against Northern Illinois. Gonzaga is a 32.5 point favorite. I like Gonzaga to win this game, but 32.5 points is just that's a lot. That's a lot of points.
Yep.
Even though I know Northern Illinois is a MAC school, it's going to be a tough game for Northern Illinois to stay in. But especially this early in the college season, you'll see teams if they get a big lead take some of their guys out and stuff. So 32.5 is just too many points for me. You have Creighton at Arizona State. Creighton's a 3.5 point favorite on the road, minus 162 on the money line. Arizona State is plus 134 on the money line. Over unders at 142.5. I like Creighton at the minus 3.5 in that game. Don't really have none like the big schools playing tonight.
Not really.
Besides like Gonzaga and Texas.
Texas, yeah, that's about it. Creighton.
Yeah. Did you have any college basketball?
Yeah, I've got a parlay. I've got Rice at Texas. I did the over 141.5. Then I did Creighton minus 3.5 at Arizona State, and then I did Northern Illinois and Gonzaga over the 150.5.
Yeah, I was thinking about going on the over on that one as well.
I don't do a lot of over unders. I thought I'd try it. I've struggled a little bit with my college, so I mean I did hit one last week, but I thought I'd try some over unders.
All right. Do you have a hockey?
Yes, I do. I've got the Devils money line win at the Rangers. I've got the Calgary Flames at the Montreal Canadiens. I'll take the Canadiens money line win, and then I got the Edmonton Oilers and the Minnesota Wild over 6.5 goals.
All right, that's pretty much all the games for today. Before I get into my picks for the day, picks over the weekend. I went 8-4. I was 4-2 in the NBA on Friday. On my NBA picks on Friday that I gave out, and then on NFL yesterday I was 4-2. I had the Vikings beating the Lions, but I did have the over the 51.5 in that game. And then the other game I missed in the NFL, I had the Titans at the minus 3.5 against the Jaguars, and Jaguars put it on them. So I was 8-4 on my picks on Friday.
I was for the weekend because I did some Saturday and Sunday and Friday. On Friday night in the NBA, I went 1-2. Friday college basketball went 2-1. Friday in NHL, I went 2-1. Saturday NHL went 2-1. Sunday NFL, I went 2-2. So I was 9-7 overall.
Which I forgot about these 3 games. So I had 3 college basketball games that I hadn't checked yet, but I was 8-4 and everything else.
That Gonzaga one, when was that played?
On
Friday?
Yeah.
Gonzaga was, if you had Gonzaga, it was good, minus 16.5.
Okay. Did you have the Air Force or the Vanderbilt game?
No, I didn't do either one of them two. I had the Binghamton and Fordham was good, but I had Dartmouth and Central Connecticut.
That would make me 9-4. Then I have 2 college games on Friday. I didn't see, but all right. For today, my picks for today, or best picks for today, is going to be Patriots minus 2.5 against the Cardinals. I like the Pacers money line against the Miami Heat, and I like the over the 228.5 in that game. I like the Brooklyn Nets minus 6 at the Washington Wizards. The Boston Celtics minus 4 against the Clippers. I like Atlanta Hawks and Memphis Grizzlies over the 225.5. And then in college basketball, I like Texas minus 24.5 and Creighton minus 3.5. That's going to be my picks for today.
Okay, I'll give mine again. My NFL parlay for tonight, I've got New England minus 2.5 at Arizona. I got the under 43.5, and I got Murray anytime score. NHL, I got the Devils money line win. I've got the Montreal Canadiens money line win, and I've got the Edmonton Oilers and Minnesota Wild over 6.5 goals. My NBA parlay, I've got the Miami at the Pacers. I'll take the Pacers plus the 3.5. I got Minnesota at Portland. I'll take Portland -4. And then I've got Boston -4 at the Clippers. And my college basketball for tonight, I've got Rice at Texas over 141.5. I've got Creighton -3.5 at Arizona State. And I've got Northern Illinois and Gonzaga over 150.5. What do you think? What do you think about Hilton going to Dallas? Do you think that's going to be a big help to them?
I mean, it could. I don't know if it's going to be a big help. I think that gives them a little bit of wide receiver depth going into the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad move. You're talking about a guy that I've always been a big Hilton fan, but a guy that hasn't really produced the last couple of years that he was with the Colts.
Had some injury problems.
At the level he was used to, he couldn't stay healthy. I think it could be a good spot for Mo because he's not going to be dependent on to play 50 plays a game. You know what I mean? He'll get used sparingly probably. And but no, I think it's a good move for the Cowboys because it's not costing you a lot. And it's going to give you a little bit. It's going to give you a little more depth. And he's a guy that can make he's a guy that's capable of making big plays, and has made big catches in big situations before. So that's just adding some more experience. That's another veteran you can get there in your wide receiver room, because they really don't have a veteran wide receiver. If you think about it, CD Lamb's he's their number one. He's a young guy. Yep. Gallup has been hurt, and he's not like he's been around for a long time. So I think it was a good move to get a veteran presence in there.
I agree 100%. It's not going to hurt. It's probably not a lot of money either. Also, what do you think of San Diego? Some people say it's an upset, but upset Miami. Oh, excuse me, Los Angeles Chargers upsetting. Some people say it was an upset. I don't think it was a huge upset, but what do you think about that?
I don't think it was upset either. I was right yesterday when I told you that I picked the Chargers. I took the Chargers at the +3.5 in that game, but I think Justin Herbert's underrated quarterback.
He's top 5.
Dude is really good, and a lot of people say, well, he's 500 in his career. Well, it's because of injuries around him and coaching decisions. And it's not all his fault that he's only 500 in his career.
He played a couple games this year with some bad ribs. I mean, and a quarterback with bad ribs, that's a tough situation.
But, I mean, if you want to talk about somebody look bad, was Tua. Tua looked that Chargers defense with backup safeties and backup cornerbacks made Tua look pretty bad last night. He didn't. I know he was 3 of 15 or 3 of 16 at one point in that game.
He ended up 10 of 28 overall.
He ended up finishing 10 of 28 for 145 yards.
But when you take the sacks and stuff, everything, they only ended up with 128 yards.
Yeah, and he only completed 35% of his passes. That's if you're not completing at least 60% of your passes in the NFL, you're considered struggling pretty much.
This is 2 games in a row. So I'm wondering if defenses have figured them out. They talked about that last night. That
it's kind of like what happened when Tyreek Hill was in Kansas City. Teams started playing that 2 deep shell, keeping everything in front of them, and then Kansas City started having some trouble.
But the reason,
and I think that's what's happening here is these teams are realizing, give up the underneath stuff, just keep Waddle and Hill in front of us.
And Tua don't have the arm or the. I'm not saying he's not mobile, but he's not the quarterback Kansas City has.
No.
A lot of those plays that they would make with Hill would get away from. I mean, if your quarterback's back there scrambling for 7, 8, 9 seconds, it's going to be hard to contain Hill. And if your quarterback can find Hill, you're going to get some big plays, and that's why they got a lot of big plays out of Hill and the quarterback with Kansas City. So, Tua's got. Do I think he's a good quarterback? Yeah, I think he's good. I don't think he's top 5. I'm not sure he's top 10.
No, I don't think he's top 10. I think, and it goes back to what I was saying before this season. I think he is in. I think his anticipation. He don't have great anticipation. And if a guy's not running wide open, he has trouble hitting guys. They got to be run. You got to be running pretty wide open. If he has to throw into traffic and he hesitates a little bit. And you saw last night he completed one pass over 15 yards. And I mean that game shouldn't even been as close as it was. One of those touchdowns was a fluke touchdown by Tyreek Hill on a fumble recovery. And then they got another touchdown there toward the end of the game. But I mean, that game wasn't as close as as the score makes you think it was when you look up and see it was 23-17. The Chargers controlled that game pretty much from start to finish.
Okay, I was looking for one article and I just found another one. CBS Sports, Josh Edwards has the Colts selecting Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson in the first round. Of course, that's just opinion.
Yeah.
But there was an article I read earlier today.
I've heard the guy from Kentucky. I've heard all kinds of different.
And it was about coaches. And I'm not seeing it here.
No shit, he left with a concussion. He landed flat in his face.
He landed hard, man. It was ugly. But there was a couple of coaches that I were kind of intrigued by. Of course, they had Harbaugh up there, and they had the former New Orleans coach. Had Caldwell mentioned. There was about 10 coaches they had mentioned in there. Quinn from Dallas. They had Quinn. What did you think about Quinn from Dallas?
To be at the Colts? I don't know. He didn't do bad in Atlanta when he was a head coach. He had some good moments. But he does great as a defensive coordinator.
But they had Flores mentioned. They had another defensive coach mentioned, and I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was the Dallas guy. They had another one mentioned, and the reason they mentioned him because he plays the same type. His defense was the same type of defense the Colts play.
I was going to say, was it the 49ers defensive coordinator?
Yes. That's who it was.
D'Amico Ryans?
Yes, and they said that the defense that they do is very similar.
I think he's going to get interviewed for a lot of coaching jobs this year. The way that defense for San Francisco's looked.
They've had a couple games, but they've had a lot of injuries. But for the most part, they've looked really good, and they looked awesome yesterday.
They were all over Tom Brady yesterday.
And going back to San Diego, the LA Chargers. Herbert had a great game, but there was times he didn't have no time at all.
Yeah.
There was a couple times, man. How he survived was pretty amazing.
They got lucky that if that's just a sprain, man, that looked nasty. Yeah. They're showing the Deebo Samuel injury. All right, before we get out, I'll go over my picks one more time. Tonight, NFL Patriots -2.5 over the Cardinals. NBA Pacers money line. And I like the over the 228.5. Nets -6, Clippers -4, and Atlanta and the Grizzlies over 225.5. In college basketball, Texas -24.5 and Creighton -3.5. I want to thank everybody for watching today. We'll be back tomorrow right around 3:30. Day was a little bit later. That was my fault. Also, we have a horseshoe talk here in a couple hours. Indianapolis Colts show. We'll talk about the big game coming up this Saturday night, and then have Gonzo and the Judge tonight at 11. So still got three different more shows tonight. So come tune in. Got a couple big wrestling shows coming up this weekend. We got Thunder or Blunder on Saturday night at the Emerson Theater, Indianapolis, Indiana. Got a great card. So come check that out. And then on Sunday, we have Warrior Pro Wrestling, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Warrior Pro Wrestling on Sunday. I was about to say almost said Summit, but that's the beginning of the month.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got Warrior Pro on Sunday. That'd be another great card. So come join us for some wrestling this weekend. But we'll see you guys tomorrow at right around 3:30 for another episode of Easy Money, a sports betting show. Thanks for joining us.